I asked yesterday what people do when they're struggling with, not being able to do things and feeling a little bit stuck in their routine. And I love that Bruce said, lose the to do list. Cool. I'll try. I don't know. And also, Dara said that she just allows herself to do nothing for a while and then picks one thing. And that's interesting because that's actually what I wanted to talk about today. Super, super happy to see all of you here, and also really lovely to hear from you what it is that works. So, yesterday, as I was kind of not able to do the things that I wanted to do, I remembered a story that um, a dear mentor and colleague and now friend, uh, Roger Brown, who's the president of Berklee, he told this story that I thought would be super fun to share. When Roger was pretty young, he was working in Cambodia and Thailand in refugee camps. And he was one day very, very discouraged, perhaps the most discouraged that he had been in his life. And a mentor of his, a Cambodian man named Pronton, took him aside and told him a story, a parable. The parable was about a novice who goes to a Buddhist temple who's going to be initiated, brought into the fold. And the head monk takes this novice, this young man, to an enormous, gigantic temple that stretched out acres and acres. The floor of that temple was made of little tiles that are the size of dominoes. And the head monk said to the novice, "Your first task is to clean the floor of this temple." The novice looked out across the expanse of the temple and he could hardly even see the end of the temple. And he asked, "How can I possibly do this?" And the monk said, "Take this cloth, get down on your knees, and clean one tile. And when you've cleaned that tile, then you go on and clean the next one." And Roger said he thought the message of the story was that sometimes we get overwhelmed by the enormity and the uncertainty and the worries and anxiety about a task or about a decision that we have to make. And sometimes the best thing is to get down on your hands and knees, focus on one tile, and make it sparkle and shine, and also feel a sense of accomplishment that you got something, even one thing done. So I agree with what Dhara said, that maybe just getting one thing done might help. And before I'd seen that, I took this parable and kind of did a little more research. And now I feel like, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe if I don't throw away my list, because I can't at this point. What if I did just the easiest thing on my list and not worry if I'll get to the rest of it? This actually takes much less time because I can scan, pick one, and just only do that, but really make a deal with myself. All right, we're going to get this one thing done. And the reason this works is because we create mental barriers that can exaggerate the work and hence the pain involved in completing a lot of tasks or even a minor task. Those mental barriers are insurmountable. I can really speak to that. They're unrealistic, yet they have a hold over our minds. And they are created because we're prone to various errors of thought which affect our perception of a situation. We imagine, we exaggerate that the situation, the decision, the tasks at hand are harder than they are. But because we have that perception, it affects our behavior, and that creates procrastination, which makes the situation appear worse than it is. The longer the list gets, the harder it is to tackle, and we keep putting it off. I've been putting off a whole bunch of things lately because I just can't even imagine tackling it. But that is supposedly one of the foundations of cognitive behavioral theory in psychology. However, when we commit to doing a single task without fail, we force ourselves to test the reality of the task versus our skewed perception of it. So that breaks the illusion, because we build up an illusion in our minds. So that breaks the barrier in our way, and it can also help to shatter the barrier that stood in the way of the other tasks in the list. And yes, as Roger said, there's an internal reward, there's pleasure that comes from completing just one task, even if it's the simplest thing, which is what Dhara said earlier. And it could help negate pain of initiating the other tasks. The other cool thing, which I hadn't thought of, is it removes the cognitive effort that comes from thinking about whether we should or shouldn't do a particular task. I know I do this. I think, I'm kind of like overwhelmed by all the things that are left to be done. Then when I read through them, I'm like, oh, should I do this now? Oh, I don't have enough time now. Should I do it later? Okay, instead I'll just, watch something on Netflix, or I'll put it off. But each time I put it off, it's actually creating more guilt, and I'm not able to enjoy the time that I'm taking off with it, just simple pleasure. I can't, I'm kind of blocking it with guilt and that feeling of dread and overwhelm. So I'm going to try it today. Dhara, yours and Roger's thing, get down on my hands and knees and clean that one tile, make it shine, make it sparkle, whatever that one simplest task is. I hope it'll work because the list is getting longer. And I really, yeah, I think I haven't been conscious of the cognitive effort that I'm wasting. And there's this paradox kind of in my head right now that I have too much to do, so maybe just one thing. I don't know. I will try it. And if you try it, let me know if it works. So let's do just a little bit of breathing. And I think for myself, what I really need to tell myself is, I forgive myself for putting this off. I'm human. I probably needed to take time off. And primarily, I wish I could have taken the time off without feeling this guilt. And I accept it. I accept it. Harder than it sounds. So, all right, one step at a time. Let's just take 3 breaths in through our nose and exhale through your mouth. I only need to get one thing done today. The simplest thing on my list. It's all okay. And if I don't, you know what? That's okay too. All right. Here we go. Monday. Maybe it's also lockdown for so many weeks. Yeah. Okay, today I need some encouragement. So send me some encouragement because I got to get on this train. Uh, Even if I'm just at the back of the train, I just got to get on the train. I love also beautiful suggestions from everyone. Sunny says, because we cannot multitask, our brain literally can't process so many things at a time. Even when you think when you're multitasking, you're still doing one thing after the other. You're totally right, Sunny. And Shine said, I list down things in priority and try to work on the same depending on my mood for the time. I hate numbers, so I try to work on Excel sheets first thing in the morning when I'm coffee induced and happy, than waiting to work on it at night. Huh, interesting. Okay. Well, so much love to everyone. Have the best day, have the best week, and I'll see you Wednesday and Friday. Bye, everyone. And wish me luck. I gotta get that one tile cleaned. Ciao.